Welcome back to The Divide. In the last video, I said that we would be discussing the Girlhood Interrupted article published by Georgetown Law. In this report, they surveyed participants that perceived that Black girls needed less nurturing, less protection, to be supported less, to be comforted less, and that Black girls are more independent and know more about adult topics, including sex. They're basically saying that the adultification of Black girls creates an implicit bias against them. I found another complimentary article about this topic on blackyouthproject.com. They were talking about intergenerational trauma being gendered and other life lessons from a Black mother and sister's relationship from the point of view of the son and brother, the man who wrote the article. When he and his sister were adults, she told him that their mother treated her differently because she was a girl. He starts off the article with something his sister said to his mother. "What your mom did to you, you're doing to me. You treat me exactly the same way your mom treated you." In this article, he tells us how his mother never stayed mad at him for too long, even when they had extremely bad fights with each other. But when his sister would do anything his mother didn't like, such as leaving a dish in the sink, she would get kicked out of the house. He noticed for himself how his mother and his grandmothers treated the women in their own family. It was as if they just could not get over the little bumps in the road like they did with the men or the boys in the family. I wonder if this has anything to do with most Black people not wanting to have daughters. Does seeing mothers fighting with their own daughters and constantly hearing how they can't wait until their daughter turns 18 and gets out of their house play a part in how their sons view, let's say, other women they're not related to as de facto problematic? There's tons of studies and reports on the dynamic of Black moms and their relationships with their children. One is the Journal of Family Psychology. They have a very interesting article asking, do African American mothers really love their sons and raise their daughters? The results show that later born boys had fewer chores, argued more with their mothers, lived in less cognitively stimulating homes, and were not allowed to make the same decisions as were the girls or firstborn boys at the same age. The later born boys were also lowest in achievement and highest in externalizing behaviors. VerywellFamily.com defined externalizing behaviors as physical aggression, verbal bullying, relational aggression, defiance, theft, and vandalism. But on the whole, levels of aggression are similar between the sexes. Another study, the retrospective roles of Black women in the coddling of Black boys, was really focused on the Black woman's perception of Black men suffering with depression, but they also discussed the role of Black women rearing Black boys. There were 3 sub-themes, including the presence or absence of fathers in parenting Black children, Black women's role in coddling Black boys, and Black women's role in raising Black girls. Under the cultural and contextual perspective section, they said that this stems from other studies that suggest that Black parents have higher expectations for their daughters when compared to their sons. This all ties in with the first article, Girl Interrupted, the erasure of Black girls' childhood, where they discussed the adultification of Black children. In tracing the legal history of differential treatment of children based on race, Professor Priscilla Olsen has written, as emerged, white children began to enjoy greater legal protections, while Black children's position remained relatively unchanged. This result is rooted in the legacy of racial discrimination in this country, which historically included responding to Black youth's childlike behavior more punitively. According to Professors Dumas and Nelson, beginning in slavery, Black boys and girls were imagined as chattel and were often put to work as young as 2 and 3 years old. Subjected to much of the same dehumanization suffered by Black adults, Black children were rarely perceived as being worthy of playtime and were severely punished for exhibiting normal childlike behaviors. Scholars have observed that Black girls, too, are subject to adultification, noting that our society regularly responds to Black girls as if they're fully developed adults. Dr. Morris has observed the assignment of more adult-like characteristics to the expressions of young Black girls is a form of age compression. Along this truncated age continuum, Black girls are likened more to adults than to children and are treated as if they're willfully engaging in behaviors typically expected of Black women. This compression has stripped Black girls of their childhood freedoms and renders Black girlhood interchangeable with Black womanhood. To drive this point home, I want to play a clip from Pink Book Lessons.
My baby daddy, Terrell, is a good dad. No problems there. We're not together. We have a beautiful 4-year-old little girl together. I'm thinking, the way he did is just what you don't do to your baby mama, period. He came, got our daughter. They were spending time together or whatever. Look at me stuttering. He took her around Ashley, his girlfriend. Now, he changed girlfriends like he changed girls, first of all. He let this woman do my baby hair. It gets better. I mean, she did a good job. I'll give her that. The problem is, now my daughter talking about she don't want me to do her hair. She want Ashley to do her hair.
Ooh.
I'm almost squared up with my child. First of all, ma'am, Ashley probably ain't even gonna be here by Valentine's Day. She'll be able to keep them in rotation. But she don't understand that. I got to square up with my child. What? Ma'am, if you don't sit down in this chair.
Get the hell out of here.
This is a perfect example of the adultification with little Black girls. I mean, if you look at this chart, it shows starting at age 0, little Black girls have already begun being adultified. The non-Black girls' age groups go from 0 all the way to 19 years old without being adultified. That is absolutely absurd. So instead of this female turning this into a sweet mother-daughter moment, she decides to get offended and dismisses the fact that she has an opportunity to do something better for her own child. Why can't she apologize to her daughter? And I don't know, maybe tell her, you know what, when I was your age, I hated when my mom used to comb my hair too. You know, she used to hurt my hair too. Mommy, sorry, baby. I don't know. Maybe say that you'll make sure not to hurt her head when you comb her hair anymore. I mean, anything other than this reaction. How repulsive. She could even talk with the baby daddy's girlfriend, woman to woman, but I mean, we know that would never happen, so moving on. When you have children, especially a Black daughter, it is your duty and responsibility to know how to do her hair. Because if I'm going to keep it 100, you could take her to a salon and pay money, and that hairstylist doesn't even know how to properly detangle someone's hair. They're trying to get you out of their chair. They're highly unprofessional. You know, no one wants to be at a salon all day, you know, with someone that's going to rip through your hair. So I get it. This is just another added layer of what it's like to be a Black girl for most Black girls. You know, most Black girls have a mean mother, or they come from a broken family. When they go to school, not only are the students, but the teachers are going to bang down on them for any little thing. There are scientific studies that show that Black kids, and Black girls in particular, are treated very unfairly. But let me not go on a tangent. To bring all this back together, in the first video, we started the discussion about the stereotypical image that's been unjustly branded on us for centuries. Getting from under all of the negative labels put on us from outsiders as well as our own, and putting out our own images and stories. We also touched on the lack of a true sisterhood amongst Black girls and women in general. We know that the adultification of Black girls, starting practically at birth, plays a dynamic role in why there's no real sisterhood among Black women. Females today only know how to bark out orders to their offspring, talk crap about any and everybody behind their backs, and most of the time in front of their faces as well, and probably let some male screw them raw a couple of times and end up with a bunch of children that they don't really want. Women are the ones that actually have home training, and they're not looking at everyone as a means to get what they want and need to get ahead. Women today are forced to the underground because being a Black feminine woman is basically a mythological unicorn status at this point. Black women that have the intellectual capacity to realize that her individual actions and reactions affects the whole group are slapped in the face daily for behaving appropriately at all times.
Why can't these Black women come out and talk about it publicly? And you do have some that are on YouTube, and I feel somewhat sorry for these sisters because many times they get talked about, they get called names by sisters themselves. You see them on Facebook. I know that was the case with Nicole Inner Beauty. I hear that a lot when it comes to these sorts of things. What I'm thinking is there are, I don't know the number, but there's definitely a group of African American Black women that are feminine, that are underground. A lot of Black women agree with manosphere content. You'd be surprised by the amount of donations that guys get from sisters secretly. We're not catering our platforms for Black women or anything like that. But they can't come out and publicly say these things. And the shaming that comes on the Black women from other people in the Black community, and it comes from Black women themselves. A lot of times in the same, and it comes from people that are not even in successful relationships. Older people who are bitter for not being able to find anybody. With Black women who actually want to be their role, a nurturer, a woman, we gotta be honest, there's sisters out there that want to do, but they can't talk about it.
She can't get along because she doesn't understand that the feminine exchange can be non-sexual. I make her time that she spend with me worth something. She actually gets something from talking to me or from being around me. That is what sisterhood is based on, and that is why hyenas don't have real sisterhood.